Okay everyone, so we're back. This is part 2 of the, I haven't got a name for it yet. This is Aura, the cat looking up on the black paper. Now, I've had to angle my light over here. I need a certain amount of light to work from. Normally that's how bright I would have it, but I can tell by looking at the camera that that's a bit too bright for you guys to be following. So I'm just trying to angle it and turn it away enough that I can see what I'm doing, as well as you guys too. So I put it right off to one side. That should be okay for me, I think, and you should still be able to see. Obviously this is just the indentation line, there's nothing else on the paper at the moment. So what I've done is I had a look at my reference image, just working from the printout, and the printout isn't a huge bright full photo, it is literally just a printout that I've done. So I'm just going to work from that for my colour selection to begin with. And what I've done is I've poured it in a few pan pastels. Now don't panic, I'm probably not going to use all of these, and you'll notice there's no dark in there as well, because remember what I mentioned when we were doing the line drawing, that we're going to use an eraser and lift the pan pastel off again to reveal the black underneath in any of those areas that we want it. And of course we'll be using colour pencil as well for the eyes and the fur texture detail. And we'll be using, like I say, a kneadable eraser. Oh my goodness me, that's a mouthful. And an eraser that's kneadable, a kneadable eraser. So basically I can shape this down into points as well if I want to, and lift areas off. So we'll be using that at the next stage. Normally as well I usually get the eyes done pretty much at the start, but I'm going to literally just glaze over them. So I've got two different soft tools. I've got like the oval shaped one, I've got what I call like the domed rounded tip one. Now because the fur down here is, a lot of it is quite pointy, triangular, some of those angles, I'll use that down the bottom. But to start with, I'm just going to get a bit of a sweep of pan pastel over the areas, and that should lift or sink away some of the lines that are dark lines. So I'm going to start using this one here, which is the raw umber tint. Whilst I'm doing this, I'd like to say thank you to Pan Pastel, because they did send me a huge selection. Oh, I didn't show you that then, did I? Here you go. Right, if I show you this as well, I just literally go in, light sweep to pick up the colour there. Okay, so now I'm going to go in lightly and just smooth this over the areas where it's quite a soft umbery underpainting. We're going to come in over the top. What we do is with this paper, the Colourfix Smooth, is designed specifically with, actually I'm going to switch to the pointed one. It is designed for use with pan pastels. So I don't want to put too much, I don't want to fill my lines too much because I want them to be visible. So I'm just sweeping this over the areas. And so the more I put down, the more visible those initial lines. So I don't want to take it down here because this is much bluer and whiter down here. I don't mind popping in a little sweep of it around what I call the chubby cheek area. There. Even take it up to the edge of that nose there. Okay, so eyes, exactly the same rules as when we're doing anything. It's eyes flicking backwards and forwards to that reference image. Every time you see my soft tool disappearing off screen, it's literally just going off and picking up more of that light, that tint that we're starting out with, the raw umber tint. See here how much that indentation line, if I just zoom in for you, see how much the lines are staying there. Pastel is falling into some of the lines, but as long as we're not pushing it in too hard, again we can lift it away if we need to. And say all I'm using still is that initial tint, so I'm coming down here into the, what I call the clumpy area fur. I'm just going to pop it in where I see the lightest areas, because we've got lots of colour down here, we've got lots of dark. I'd like to, I mean if this wasn't fixed down, I'd probably turn this so that I could push this up a bit more naturally, but because I'm filming it's a little bit more difficult for me to do that. So I might have to do a little bit more correcting than I would do if I was doing this not for a tutorial, let's say. Okay, so just checking my lines, that comes around here. So this is almost the reverse of when we did this cat on suede matte board. Suede matte board we had a light colour support with a suede matte. It was a very like fawny colour. So we started down this bottom section by blocking in all of our dark chunky shadow shapes. With this one we're working, because we're working on black, it is literally a complete negative of that. We're popping in all of our lights first. So same method but in reverse, so to speak, if that makes sense. But we'll still do the same thing. Remember the whole thing about pulling pulling your shadows out through your midtones into your lights, and then pushing your lights back up through your midtones into your shadows. We'll still do that, to be honest. Cat looks a bit strange at the moment because it's got no ears either. I'm just checking here, that comes around there. We got a little bit of highlight there. Again, it doesn't need to be exact. We're kind of following this reference photo. But you should know by now, I say to you, you don't have to be exact. As long as you've got that feel of that cat, the character that you're looking for, a general likeness. If it's not a commission piece and it doesn't have to be exact, don't put too much panic or stress on yourself to get it absolutely perfect. Okay, so now down here, this is little touches of some of this umber tint, but I find it becomes a much almost like a bluey grey down here, and I'm not sure if I've got one of those out, but I'm not gonna, I don't know if I'm gonna pop that in or not. Let's have a look. I might even just mix this with a touch of white to keep it warm. So again, artistic license, you can decide as you go along. And again, whilst you're doing this as well, I mean, as I'm doing it, I'm looking at, as I'm laying down the pan pastel, and thinking ahead of, okay, so how much am I going to be relying on any pencil work in here? I could just do it all with pan pastels. I would probably use possibly pastel pencils on this. This is a piece that I was just doing for myself. I am thinking, like, you know, how much texture am I going to add in? Very much? Well, let's just see what happens by the end of this application of pan pastel anyway. Okay, so I just need to touch up, strengthen up. I can see that coming around there, in between there. I just need to strengthen that up a tiny little bit there. So use the side of your soft tool for a little bit more precision. Highlight around underneath that eye. It doesn't matter, like I say, I've gone over some of the lines and the areas where there should be any of this tint, so I'm just going to sweep down outer edge of that ear there. Same up over the top. I need a little hint more of like a peachy colour in there as well. It's got that soft highlight in there. Some pinks in here as well. Okay. So I go quiet when I'm really concentrating. Just wanted to make sure I got that line right there. So in a way, we're doing the underpainting, the undertones, but using pan pastel, obviously. Now what I'm going to do, just literally, not much pan pastel on there at all, just kind of map in the outer edge. Again, we'll probably use our pencils down here, just to get the outer line of that there. And same here now. This is more of a bluey colour up into that ear. Mapping the outer edges so that we've got an outline there, and then we can cut back into it. Okay, so now I use the same tool. I'm going to go in with, I want to get some like really lovely reddish tone in there. So I'm going to come in with, actually first of all I'm going to go in with this touch of this around the eye and a few little streaks down here. Now this one is burnt sienna tint. So let's come in here, and what we'll do, we'll probably pop some of this in, and then we'll be dragging, like say, some of the next mid-tone colour down into this as well. This is sort of, I describe it as a very, very pale peachy colour. And you'll find that using your pan pastels, you can mix and blend on your palette tray, or on your soft tool, or actually on your work itself. It is very much like painting, but like I say, you can just lift it off again if you want to. So I'm adding lovely, just warm touches of this. In through. I'm trying to lift off. I'm trying to dab it on there and then lift off. I'm not trying to rub it in too much to that previous layer. I don't want to blend it too much. I want it to sit as pure colour on the top at the moment. So we'll do some blending later on. Hopefully you can see a slight variation between this and that previous light tint. Won't be very much, it's not a huge difference, but hopefully you should be able to see some. See, now I'm seeing down here, now when I started looking, you'll find this as well when you're working on a piece, as you start to look more closely in on a piece, you'll see more colours, and I'm starting to see all those beautiful original purples that we put into Aura, the original version that we did on the suede matte board. Starting to see lots of that around here now. So I might have to dip back into my pan pastel. I was going to say my pick and mix box of pan pastels and pull out a few other shades. I'm absolutely dying to get the next colour in there now though, the rich red. Okay, so I want a nice hint of this around the eye. Especially here over the nose. My eyes are going backwards and forwards to that reference, non-stop. I think that we are there with that layer. Blowing away any excess. Yep. Wish now I popped her eyes in before we got going. Okay, so next we're going to switch to, let's have a look which one I'm going to use. I'm just trying to decide which one I'm going to use of these two. I think I'm going to go in with this one first of all, which is a burnt sienna shade. The other one is just burnt sienna. The brighter one is burnt sienna, that's burnt sienna shade. So I'm going to go in with that burnt sienna shade first of all. You'll see I'm just using the same soft tool at the moment. You can wipe these off onto tissue paper at the side as well. So I just want to come in around here and just start to add in some of this darker orangey colour around here. Again, I just want to colour place it really. I'm putting more down there than needs to go down, because again we're going to lift this out. But wherever I see a hint of this, I'm popping it in. So I'm going to dab it over all of this area here. It's just softening those highlights. Remember I said we'll go back in and add highlights back in again. Anywhere where we lose anything, we just pop it back in again. So this is the dark here, and it's the mid-tone coming out into the light. So I'm going to sweep some of this out. Just gone quiet whilst I'm just working my way around here. Could be worse, I could be singing. So down here there's lots of purples in here. I'm going to put a little hint of this orangey sienna just through some of this. We'll come in with our purpley colours later on. So remember we've got this lovely red here to come in as well. Okay, so here. And that's pretty much all of that burnt sienna shade gone in around here. You say it really looks patchy still. I'm going to bring some up around the top now as well. Okay, so we want some, take out part of the eye again, little touches up around the eye. Again, I'm just dabbing with my soft tool, I'm dying to lift out that tiger stripe again there as well. Little touches going down everywhere that I can see it. Some up around this top edge. Again, it doesn't matter here that I've gone over because I'm going to repair or use my eraser to come back into that area to lift any extra out. Okay, so I've made sure by the time I've got up to here that my nib there is quite mixed with the light tint that's gone down before, so I don't want to go in here too harsh. So I want to go in there a lot softer. Okay, I think that should be okay for now. So we'll come back and revisit if we need to. Okay, so now I'm going to got one here that's already been used, quite dark. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and get some of this red down, and that is the red iron oxide shade. So I might end up mixing this as well. I'm probably going to mix this with a darker one again, but again I'm going to come in here and just start to pop in some of this beautiful red shade everywhere that I can see it as well. So come out the back of that ear there. So I'm using this a bit like I'm pulling out of the shadows. You see I'm not leaving a huge amount of light that went down there right at the beginning. Coming out, we're pulling the dark out over the top. I'm flicking with my soft tool out into those light ends. So exactly like we said with the Aura original portrait, how we pulled that dark shadow out into the light through our midtones. And we push the highlight back in. This is our midtones that we're dragging out from the shadow. So everywhere I can see a little hint of this undertone, I'm popping it in. And some areas I might just exaggerate it a tiny little bit to get a little hint of it in there. Okay, some little hints in here under the fur. Touches in through here. There's mainly a lot more blue in here though. Just put a little bit around here. It's not usually actually a huge amount there. I just want to balance it out by eye though. Okay, I think that is fine there for that layer. Okay, so next I am going to come in with, I want some of our dark blue to go in there, so I'm just going to double check. I need to just pop these all up under the light again now to make sure, yeah, that is my darkest blue. Okay, so we're going to go in next with, it's Payne's Grey, which always looks really blue in the palette here. It looks really blue, but it's actually called Payne's Grey. So I'm going to start to touch some of this in now. So again, up across, up more. Just need to adjust my soft tool. My nozzle's not on there properly. There we go. Touches. Okay. Just pop in a hint of this around here because I'm going to come over this with my white in a second and that'll soften it back as well. There we go. So a little bit of this in here, little touches here through the cheeks. Touches over the brow there. See, I'm trying to do it as well, sort of in the direction of the fur. And let's get some on the, oops, on the back of this ear as well. Okay. So now I'm going to pull some in and out of all of this shadow area. And this is in preparation of going in using our eraser to lift some of this back out again. So I'm touching it in. Soften that outer edge as well. lots up here through this cheek. So you could just use dark brown through here, but I see it more as, like I say, if I was using colour pencils, I would be using up here possibly dark indigo underneath. So instead I'm using my Payne's Grey, which is like the closest in the palette that I can see to my dark indigo pencil that I would normally use if I was just doing this in pencil. So that's why I am using this one. Some of that up. So you'll see here, if you compare it to the reference photo, that I'm losing a lot of the dark. So I'm going to have to pull a lot of that back again. I'm using this almost as my dark into the mid-tone. So I had my light, that was those two tints at the beginning. I used the shade, orangey shade, and now I'm using this Payne's Grey as my dark to pull the shadow out into that orange. I think this should suffice down here. Instead of pulling in purple, I need to pull in a white down here. Which I will do. So a touch more here. I think we are okay there. So I'm going to flip my nozzle around on one of the soft tools, and then I'm going to pick up some white. I'm just going to be careful around my edges as well. Just trying to get the most out of using the soft tools. So I'll go up here. Just using the white here. I want to get this outline of the mouth down. There we go. And you'll notice a lot of this is just blending with layers below. So I need to lift some off in a second. This is the start again. This is titanium white here that I'm using. But obviously it's mixing with whatever I've put down previously. I need to get some pink in here, which I do have here. Tiny touch of pink. A little bit more. Also, because the pink I've used, you could get away with not doing this. It's a magenta tint, and there's a little touch of phthalo blue tint I put in here as well. It's not much, it's just a little hint, but you should be able to just blend that with Payne's grey and the white over the top. Sorry, I forgot what I was saying then. Okay, so I'm going to come up through here, just adding a few touches of highlight. Across here. Just going to sweep in over the eye as well, just mapping the eye. But I'm going to do the eye in pencil, so I'm going to come back in a second with the pencil to do that. So now I'm just going down through and pulling back some of the highlights, and here I'm going to go in with dabs of the white, because the white is now working down here as a mixer, so it's not going in. See all the pigment that we've got down, it's not going in as a pure pigment, it's literally going to go in and lighten some of these tips. Soften some of those ones that were down before as well. Okay, so over here, push some of that back up and pull some out. Okay, so I'm going to just increase I don't know what's going on. I'm just going to try my other white pan pastel actually, because for some reason that first one is crumbling. Better. quite a bit when I'm applying it, so okay, a little touch up around here. Little tabs around this brighter area here. And I think that we're there really now with most of those initial base layers. So I want to go in next, start to take some of it away, and also I want to come in here and just work those eyes with pencils, because the eye might look a little bit ugly at the moment, and that's partly why I just wanted to come in here and get it mapped back in, so we had a nice nice focal point to be working to. So you can see here how wonderful the pencil goes on over the top of not just the Colourfix Smooth, but also over that layer of panpastel base that I just smoothed over there earlier. Curve that up around there a little bit as well. And what it's done, because if you've done the polar bear or the black on black cat working on this, is that reflecting a little bit? Working on the Colourfix Smooth, you'd probably appreciate just how many layers we still have. It's not the same as pastel matte, it's not as many layers as goes down on pastel matte, but it still demanded a huge amount of working layers from just using pure pencils. But just by putting that little light layer of panpastel down right at the beginning there, it's really helping us with these layers. I'll go through the colours I'm using in a second. Obviously I've got white and black, I've got earth green in there. I'll just double check, this one is light cobalt turquoise. I've got my light yellow ochre that I'm going to use. The green I've pulled in is the cadmium green opaque, and I've also got my dark indigo. So dark indigo, I'm just going to pop a little touch in here. Again, as I was saying at the beginning of this whole image, what I want to do with this is work it quite fast, quite loose. We don't want to be really taking loads of time making it really tight. The whole point of this is to keep it nice and loose. And it just fits well with the cat then. So I'm just glazing different colours here. This is a light cadmium, light yellow ochre. Little touches. Now again, I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time even working this eye. I need a little bit more light. The trouble is it's not helping you guys with the camera. Glaze some more of this earth green. So again, small scumbling motion, so small circular motion with your pencil when you're working on the eyes. Try and work pupil to the outside edge in towards the pupil. Don't be drawing circles, remember. I know I've said this over and over to you, but I'll repeat it every single time, just in case someone's new to the videos and this is the first one that they've watched. So I need to lighten that a lot now, so I'm going to glaze over that with white. Again, still have a small circular motion, or you can go backwards and forwards, keeping your pencil on the paper in towards that pupil from the outside edge. But just keep a check on those angles. Okay, so touch of the light yellow over the top again. So the turquoise just around that pupil, or the slit of the eye as it is on the cat. I'm going to use a little touch of this darker of the green. If you don't have the exact same pencils, just use what you've got. As long as they look a close match. Because so this is quite tiny. If you look at the size of it, that's my fingernail. It's quite tiny little eye really. That's still reflecting. See, I just need this light because I need to be able to see, to be able to draw. Glaze over again. My earth green. And then over the top, let's get that highlight across there again. So this doesn't take as many layers as the pastel mat. It will take a fair few. So to keep it simple, I mean, I would normally probably use like a warm grey over that area there. But to keep it simple for the tutorial palette, I'm just using my white glazing over the top. And that, let me just zoom out, that is pretty much as far as I'm going to take that eye. I'll just take this off to one side. That should show a little better there. Glaze once more. And that should give us a nice cat's eye. Tiny little touch more. So I'm just trying to keep out of the light, but where you can actually still see me drawing. I might just add a little touch of indigo. It's that pupil. Touch up above there as well. There we go. Black. And when we start doing our pencil, flicks of the fur down over that brow, then that will start to create that lovely fur texture. There we go. So that is where we will leave the eye. I'm just going to move this out of the way. At least got an eye in place now. What I might do as well is just, let me zoom in again, just pop back in shape that nostril feature there that we were losing a tiny little bit. There we go. I think that is fine for now. That's. I want to come back tomorrow in slightly better light as well, and then we can decide whether we're going to go in with another layer of pan pastels, or whether, I'm just having a little play here, whether we're going to just start to work quickly with our pencils over the top of what we've already got down there. So here. There. Okay, so remember we've got, I want to take some of this out using our eraser. Lift it across now. Just so I can show you what I mean. So I can lift some of this pan pastel back using the eraser. It also gives quite a soft effect. It just takes it back down to black. Should show up quite well here in the ear as well. So it means that we get to keep some of the pan pastel down, but it'll just lift some of it out. It just means I need to keep lifting off, cleaning, shaping the eraser. I hope so. If I do this tomorrow in the daylight as well, I won't need my daylight lamp as much, so you should be able to see more what I'm doing. Like down this outside edge, I want to use the eraser. I don't want to put too much pencil down the bottom area because I want to use the eraser to lift out and to create some of this fur texture rather than coming in with a pencil. So it's just going to take a little bit of twiddling and kneading and going back in to get that effect that we want. Hopefully you can just see from that little test little strip there that I've done. What I mean. Okay, so we'll leave Pussycat there for tonight, even though I'm dying to do loads more. Now that I've got this eraser out, I just want to come in and start lifting lots of the black back. But we'll stop there for now, honest.